Hello everyone, I am Dr. Obayoza Adile, a board-certified child and adolescent psychiatrist as well as a general pediatrician that is board-certified with over 20-year experience in managing child and adolescent behavior. Our video today is about structured activities and bedtime. So if you've been following our previous videos, you understand we are trying to help parents manage children who tend to act out as somewhat irritable, easily angry, frustrated, and might be argumentative, and defiant or non-compliant. So remember we at one point or one of our initial videos started to help parents understand the reason for their child's behavior. We talked about the child's temperament as well as the parent's temperament, and we talked about how genetics could contribute to this. We also talked about children having other psychiatric disorders that could cause them to be more irritable or easily frustrated, including diagnoses like ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, anxiety, depression, as well as the child's temperament. So these babies, children who as babies were very irritable and very fussy, like we said, they formed an attachment. It might have been a secure attachment. It might not have been maybe somewhat a disordered attachment, which means that they attached to their parents, but they never learned how to self-soothe or self-regulate. So these kids tend to be kids who are very irritable and easily frustrated. So we talked about positive attending, helping children develop that trust and helping them understand parents are here to support them. We're offering a lot of praise and positive attention. Helps your child build their sense of self-confidence, self-worth, and also their level of self-competence. So another change that can help your child continue to build on that foundation is having a structured daily routine. So these children do better when they know what to expect, which means the day is set in a certain structure that we can repeat on a continuous basis. No question, there might be change, like a weekday is not going to have the same structure as a weekend, but the underlying pattern is something the child can recognize. So getting the day structured. Let's start with time the child has to wake up. On a school day, we can keep that consistent. Many parents on the weekend give kids room to sleep in, which is not a bad thing, especially if these are older children with so many after school activities. It's hard to get an early bedtime, so weekend is always a good day to sleep in. But if we can keep some consistency through the weekdays as to what time you have to wake up, and we've already done the math. We know maybe in the morning you have to brush your teeth. Some kids will have to take a shower, get clothes on, get breakfast, and what time we have to leave home to be at school by a certain time, so we can set an effective wake-up time. So we have a wake-up time in the morning. If your child is a child that homeschools, you still want to structure their day. Remember to develop trust in a child. They tend to want to have their needs met as well as they know what to expect. So having a structured day helps a child or kid know what the expectations are. So if we have a set bedtime, if you want to put this on a visual, you can have a daily routine chart that's up on the fridge or wherever in their room. If they have a little notice board, you can pin it up there. If they have an alarm, you want your child to be competent, self-competent. But this improves their sense of self-worth and their sense of self-esteem, their self-confidence. So even a child as young as 6, we can set an alarm. And it doesn't mean the parent isn't going to go in there, they're that young, to make sure they actually responded to the alarm. We have to train them to use the alarm. So you want to help the child learn how to set those alarms. These days you can set your alarm through the entire week. You can also set a different time for the weekend wake-up time, which means you're giving them time to sleep in. It would be reasonable to expect all kids to be up and ready to go by noon, I'm sure, on the weekend. So see what you think is a reasonable time. It might be 10 would be a time to get up if you're ready to go by noon. It might be 9, but set the time on the weekdays, set the time on the weekends. Let the children know their wake-up time. So children 6 and over, they can be very self-confident. They can grab their own breakfast. So make sure they know where their milk is. It might be in the fridge. Make sure it's on the level where they don't have to climb to get up there to get the milk. If they know where their cereal is, help them understand how to put their milk and cereal together. You might want to help them learn to clean up behind themselves, what to do with their dishes. Are they going to place it in the dishwasher, in the sink? Are they going to wash the dish? So let's start to develop that sense of self-competence, and let's help our kids learn to be independent, fix their own breakfast if possible. I wouldn't go as far as a hot meal. That would need assistance or at the very least supervision, and I don't expect a kid who's 6 to be able to fix anything that's hot. We don't want any burns, we don't want any injuries. They can definitely fix a bowl of cereal and maybe get a little help fixing a sandwich. So start to help your kids develop that sense of self-competence. So breakfast time is set. So we had wake up time set. We had our morning routine. We already had breakfast done. We know what time we have to leave home by to get to school by a certain time. School is obviously structured. They know what to expect in school. They know what classes they have. They know, where to go, what to do, when is recess. So just think of school being a structured setting, and we're trying to mirror that at home as much as possible. A little more difficult, but we're not going to be overly like helicopter parenting where we're on the child. No, we're trying to develop that child's sense of self-confidence so they can do some of these structured activities. If you've done it for 30 to 90 days, that's enough time for the child to start to understand what to expect and to follow through without parents having to necessarily give them those commands. So we're trying to get them to self-manage. So breakfast time, we got out to school, we went through the school day, maybe we rode the school bus, maybe we got picked up from school. Riding in the car is a nice time for a child to maybe read a story. We can put some music on, we can sing along. So we're trying to utilize all this as quality time. If they're riding in the car with a parent, that might be a time to read from a storybook. It might be a time to sing along, but we want to do activities they enjoy. And then when we get home, it might be they need, some kids need a little nap or a little siesta. Some kids just need to wind down, do something they enjoy. So if you want to give them, some kids don't do well with free time. They do better going straight to their homework. So every child's different. We expect the parent to understand what works best for their child, but you want to have a time by which you expect homework to be done. You want to have an area, it might be at the dining table, at the breakfast table, it might be in their room. That area is set aside for them to do their schoolwork. So if you know what time schoolwork needs to be done by, with kids with behavior issues, we have lots of timers, lots of prompts, and lots of alarms. So go ahead and set one for homework time. And then once homework time is done, we want all kids to have exercise. So if possible and the weather allows, please set up some outside time. And if outside time won't allow, we can still do activities within the house. So let's try to include some homework time. Let's try to include some exercise time, and then obviously fun time. They can watch TV, play video games. We're trying to limit screen time. The AP recommendation, the American Academy of Pediatrics, is a 2 hours electronics time or TV time. Screen time is specifically how they refer to it. So we don't want kids playing video games all day. I know 2 hours, most kids probably get above that, but at least you know what the recommendations are. So video time, we sometimes will, depend on the child, if the video gaming is excessive and they don't seem to be able to follow through with cutting off at a certain time, there are certain kids who we will say better off not playing video games on a school day. So keep that in mind. Is this a child who can play 2 hours? Is this a child who cannot play at all on a school day? And don't forget, these are our privileges, so we can withdraw those privileges if they don't follow through with directions or commands or chores. So ensure your child knows what the expectations are. So if you want to have chores for the day, it might be take out the trash, make sure your bed's made, clean up your room, whatever you think is a reasonable chore. Older kids can wash dishes, load the dishwasher, Older kids can put away their laundry. We have to know what day is laundry day. So these are all parts of our daily routine or chores. So I hope I've given you some good ideas as to what the daily routine or structured routine looks like. This helps your child understand what to expect. It also helps us hold that child accountable, because if homework time was 6 o'clock, we set a timer, we sat you at your table to get homework done, we come in at 6:30, you're on your video game. Obviously, you have broken the rules, so there will be a consequence. You might lose the remote, lose that video game for the whole day. You might try again tomorrow and see if you can do better. And then it might be that's the kind of child who you probably want them doing their homework on the kitchen table or somewhere you can kind of keep an eye on them. So try to identify which kids need more supervision. And the final timer of the day is bedtime. So we're trying to get children and between the ages of 6 to 12 to try to get 10 hours of sleep at least, which means if I have them in bed by 8, if they need to be awake by 6, that's quite reasonable. So work as close to that as you can. And you probably want that timer going off half an hour before, depending on how long the bedtime routine is. So if we're going to have a shower, brush our teeth, if we need to clean up our rooms, if we need to get I do like us to try to read to children at night or put on some music. So this might be a positive attending time. If we can get a story time in there, sneak in some more positive attending time before bedtime. The good thing about story time is all the kids can have stories together before everyone goes in their separate beds. And separation anxiety, or kids with anxiety in general, sometimes will not sleep in their own bed. So that's a tough one. It might be a story for another day. But if we can at least settle them down in their own beds, get them their own nighttime routine, make sure they have a favorite stuffed toy, and let's do some breathing, some relaxation, some imagery. Try to get them to wind down. And then counting down is another coping skill we can use. Counting sheep used to be something we all did when we were little. But these are things to help kids relax, self-regulate, hopefully go to sleep. And if they go to sleep in their bed, at least that's a step in the right direction. Some kids will want a cup of water or want to use the bathroom now. So make sure you include that in the bedtime routine so that by the time it's bedtime, all that's already done. And then we have a time, so we're holding you accountable. You need to be in your bed. You need to be closing your eyes. It's the first stage of going to sleep. And kids will fight sleep. So this is a good time to use those mindfulness and relaxation techniques and pull whatever skill they want to pull out of that toolbox, and let's get them to bed. So I hope you had at least some understanding in this video of how to have a structured daily routine, how to help your child know what to expect, help your child learn to self-manage, and also hold your child accountable, because in a structured routine, they know all expectations. And don't forget to have that visual prompt. It might be on the fridge, it might be on the wall in their room, but they have some idea what to expect for the day. And just in case, make sure that homework goes in the backpack, because it does have to go to school tomorrow. So once homework's done, go straight in the backpack, have everything all packed and ready to roll. It's bedtime. You all have a good evening. And I hope you like and subscribe, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.